Alright, in this video I'm working on adjusting the actual hood. Did some research. These hoods have adjustments on the latch, and you have the ones on each side, to keep the hood propped up, and it's got to be the right amount of pressure for it to actually pop. And my garnet one works great, and these two white ones are off a little bit, and so we're gonna see about getting adjusted, and that way you can have the latch just pop with the actual handle. Yeah, I need more adjustment. Up, down. I don't know. Let's go back some more. I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna figure this out right here. It's a little locking nut here, which looks like it makes it go up and down. That's definitely probably going. Oh, let's pull it up. Okay, so I want to go down. So it looks like clockwise goes down. Yeah, because I want to give more room to release. It's probably getting hinged up on there. So I want to go this way. What's going on here? I think these things just work, I guess, over time, things stop working correctly. So far, this should be coming down from where it was. So when it latches, it should give more room to release, and I would think that this would pop the hood up from releasing. So the actual, let's see, put this on camera. These actual, I guess I call it bump stops, or what do you want to call it right here, they probably just stop the hood from going too low. This is just, for raising and lowering the hood just to line up here. So this probably doesn't matter as much, but it looks like the actual latch itself here, this is what this little spring is actually what pops it up after you release the latch. So this adjustment here would determine after you latch it down here that it actually you have to have the adjustments on the hood up here correctly for when you pull it, that it will pop up. So for some reason it's binding, so trying to figure that out. So we're gonna keep on trying till we get it right. And I think I got it. Yep, that's it right there. That is it. Because now I can pull it by my hand, and I shouldn't break my handle on my trim piece in here. It's like $200. Oh yeah, that's so much easier. So that's it. You need to, when you're working on this type of hood, get this camera a little closer. You need to actually take this is a 13mm wrench, and you need to adjust. There's a nut up here on the back of the actual latch, and you need to adjust that. I would go counterclockwise for it to go down into the actual latch here. When you go down into that latch further, it's still going to latch the hood down, and but it's not putting as much tension on the actual pull, because I've actually broken the pull handle on the interior on this one. So I got to replace it, but I got a replacement out of parts car, so not a big deal. But I did, from the point of pulling it, I did crack my lower trim piece in there too, so that's unfortunate. But now, it's just all about having this 13mm nut here adjusted out long. This has to be long enough down into this latch. So that's the whole how to adjust your hood latch. So I got my replacement. This came from my parts car, my I think it's a 230 coupe. But so you know what happens is that when your hood latch cable is out of adjustment and you pull on it, I mean, this piece is all plastic, and it'll bend and break this part here, and then you know obviously it won't work. And I think this is the same type as I have. This may be a little bit stronger, better plastic, and so it's not as worn out, so it should work fine. But I noticed that the thing is that mine is way off here, you know, compared to this trim piece. And you know, right now I'm just trying to get everything working. You know, I'm working on getting everything working correctly, and then do all the cosmetics. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm pull this out. If you ever need to take this little replacement, you know, replace this little latch here, this hood release latch, there's just one little screw, and I left the screw in it. It's down here. So you know, when you're taking stuff apart, if you can leave it in the part, that makes it that much easier to put it back together. But you know, when you take that screw out, it'll come out. It shouldn't come out this far, so I went to go put it in, but I noticed that, you know, excuse my camera footage here, but that it's too far out. It shouldn't be this far out, so I'm gonna reroute the cable back behind some wires and stuff like that, so it just shortens it up a little bit. I'm gonna reroute it back, you know, let's see if I could get kind of back behind the wire harness that's back here to get it up higher, because it'll bind if it's too long like this. So that's another issue that I'm having. So I'm gonna work on that. But you know, you just slide this this little cable out of this slot here. You know, you slide it out, and then you know, you just slide it out of this slot here too. You know, that slot right there, and then this whole cable piece comes out. So I'm gonna work on that, and because it's hard to do it with one hand. Alright, so what I ended up doing was I found that hood latch cable is right here. This is the front driver's corner, right under, you know, on the inside of this fender. This cable here is the fender, that's the hood latch cable. So it was too long, and I tried pushing through the firewall, so I just kind of pulled it back right here in this corner, just made it kind of go down a little bit to keep it as straight as possible. It may be stretched a little bit, but I didn't want it to bind, and so I hooked it up on, you know, this actual release cable. I hooked it up on here, and when I pulled it back, it pulled it back in, and there's like a little, let's see, there's a little clip on the inside. You just kind of clip it on the very top of this trim, and then, you know, I had this already hooked up with the cable on it, and I just screwed it in, and you know, just make sure that the operation of it's working. You know, I got the hood up, you know, first, but we'll go ahead and close it and see how it works. Yeah, and it should work fine. Yeah, so those two bump stops on the side are just to line up the leveling, you know, with the fender. So don't mess with that if you don't have to. That would not help, you know, opening and releasing the hood. So let's see if it pops up. Oh, beautiful. So much easier. It works like it should. I'm not gonna break my trim. I'm not gonna break my handle. So that's what I recommend doing, is this 13mm nut. You have to go counterclockwise for this lever to go down into the latch. That's what is going on. That's the trick, is getting that. And I lubed it up too. I took some WD-40. You can see I splattered it all. You lube this up real good, lube this up real good, and it makes your job a lot easier. Should be able to close it, and then open up this hood latch. So, and watch it pop up. Beautiful. Works like it should. So, problem solved.